She pushed my hand off her shoulder like I'd put a wet towel on her. No look, no smile. Just a flat, don't, while she wiped the counter that didn't need wiping. What's wrong, Laura? Nothing. That the official report or the lazy answer? She set the sponge down. I'm fine. You're colder than the fridge. Then grab a sweater. There it was. No storm, no tears. Just the quiet switch people throw when they're done pretending. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have stopped trying that morning and saved us both a month of theater. I filled a mug, tasted coffee that suddenly had no point, and tried one more time. Did I miss something? Work, family, me. You always make it about you. I asked about 3 things. One of them was you. Mike, I don't want to do this now. Then when? She turned, opened a cabinet for a glass she didn't need, and kept her back to me like it was a rule. Got it, I said. We'll circle back tonight. We won't. We will, or we'll change the program. Her eyes flicked over, bored. What program? Us. She shrugged. Do what you want. I did. After work, I came in with groceries and a plan. I set the bag down, pulled out salmon, 2 lemons, asparagus. Dinner, I told her. And a talk. She scrolled her phone on the couch. I ate at the office. At 4:30? Happy hour. Since when do you do happy hour on a Tuesday? Since when is it your business who I have nachos with? Since we share a roof. Relax. I put the food away, looked at the back of her head. I booked Saturday at the lake. I figured fresh air helps people talk. I'm busy. Doing what? Pilates retreat. Funny, I didn't see it on the calendar. I just decided. She tossed back, still not looking. Then cancel. This one's important. You can go, she said, standing up and walking past me to the hallway. Take Nate or one of your shop friends. Laura, stop. She didn't. Bedroom door shut. The message was clean. No negotiation, no curiosity, no effort. 10 years together, and I was a stranger cutting in line. I stood in the kitchen a minute, then pulled the big calendar off the fridge and set it on the table. I drew a line through the couple stuff with a Sharpie. Date night. Canceled. Sunday brunch with her sister. Canceled. The charity 5K we'd pretended to train for. Canceled. I wrote separate plans until further notice across the top and pinned it back. When she came for water, she glanced at it and smirked. Dramatic. Clear, I said. We talk at 8. If you're not up for that, I'll move to the guest room and we'll run this like roommates. You threatening me with silence? Bull. I'm stating terms. I don't accept your terms. You don't have to. You just live with them. She walked away again. I watched my own hand set a spare blanket on the guest bed that night and slept like a man who finally turned off a flickering light. At the shop the next day, Nate leaned on my workbench while I scraped a gasket. He's been my friend since forever, the guy who says the thing without a bow. You look like old bread, he said. Thanks. She freeze you out or what? She switched to airplane mode. You ask what's up? Got the standard nothing with a side of you're dramatic. He chewed on a toothpick. You gonna sit in it or change something? I changed something. Roommate protocol. Separate plans. 8 o'clock talk window. And if she no-shows? Then the window closes. Jenna from the office ducked in with invoices. You 2 done with men's group? Almost, I said. Good. Your paperwork's late, she told me, but softer than usual. You okay? I'm adjusting. Translation, trouble at home. Translation, rules at home, I answered. She nodded like someone who'd seen things. Don't bleed for a stone, Mike. Good advice. When I got home, Laura's phone lay face down on the counter, locked with a new code. Late dinner. Short answers. At 8, I sat at the table. At 8:05, she was in the bath. At 8:20, music started in the bedroom. I cleaned the kitchen, put on my boots, and went to the gym. Next morning, I set a new bank card on the counter with a sticky note. Household expenses. Use this for groceries and utilities. I'll handle the mortgage. Below it, I wrote 2 bullet points. No shared discretionary spending. No assumption of availability. She read it, then read my face. Wow. It's cheaper than resentment. You really think you're in charge. I'm in charge of myself, I said. And my time. And my money. She laughed, but there was a stiff edge to it. Is this what you learned at the shop? With Nate and his toothpick? This is what I learned being a person. Okay, person, she said. Enjoy your boundaries. I will. Her sister's birthday was that weekend. We arrived late. I parked in the street instead of the driveway because I wasn't staying for the 4-hour roast. Inside, her sister Tasha pushed a plate at me. Eat. You look thin. I weigh the same, Tasha. Men never notice, she said, rolling her eyes. Laura chimed in from across the island without looking up. He notices himself just fine. Laura, I cut in, calm. I'm not doing the let's jab Mike bit today. Tasha blinked. It's a joke. It's lazy, I replied. I'm here for cake and to say happy birthday. That's it. Tasha backed off. Laura clenched her jaw. Good. Clear over cozy. On the way home, she stared out the window. You're sensitive lately. I'm precise. You're being cruel. Cruel is throwing darts at the person who pays your mortgage because you're bored. Don't you dare. I raised a hand. Stop. New rule. You don't recruit people to pressure me. If you've got a problem, bring it to me. So many rules, she muttered. Only because the old ones got ignored. The next morning there was coffee waiting by my keys. Not my brand, but hot and set with a little note. Sorry about yesterday. I tasted it. Not bad. When she came into the kitchen, she brushed my arm. We got off track. Did we? I know I've been distant. Work's heavy. My mom's on me about kids. I'm just tired. You want to talk tonight at 8? She nodded, looking like the version of her I liked. I'll be home. That was the first soft turn. A gentle apology, a warm cup, a promise. I appreciated it, but I didn't erase the calendar. At 8, she was home. She sat, pulled her knees up, and said, I don't know what I want. I can work with that. I don't think you can. Try me. I need space. You've got a guest room, I told her. That's not what I meant. You want me not to exist in my own house. I want you not to push. I've stopped pushing, I said. Now I'm moving. Where? Into my own life. She stared, then looked away. I'm going to bed. Good night. The week after, she did late yoga twice and a happy hour that ended past 10. I didn't ask who with. I changed my own schedule, took a Saturday shift, skipped the Sunday her family always hogged. When she texted Sunday morning, where are you? I answered, work. Had to reschedule. She didn't reply. At the shop, I tuned an engine I'd tuned a dozen times. Nate tossed me a bottle of water. You going to the Johnsons' party next weekend? Maybe, I said. Maybe. I'm not committing to perform. He raised a brow. You actually learned. Don't get excited, I told him. It took 10 years. Jenna popped her head in again. Also, Mike, your household card. Nice move. Most couples don't separate wants from needs until they're fighting over lamps in a parking lot. I smiled, trying to stay out of the lot. She nodded. Keep your head. That Thursday, Laura left at 6 without a word. Shoes soft, door softer. It was so careful it was loud. I sat there a minute because I didn't have anything urgent. Then I grabbed my jacket and followed. No cloak and dagger. I just walked out, got in my old pickup, rolled a block behind, and kept distance. She turned toward the newer part of town and parked by a little bistro. I pulled up a street over, cut the engine, and sat like a man in a waiting room. Through the window, I saw her step inside and light up in a way I hadn't seen in months. A guy in a blue shirt stood from the bar. Not a kid, not a fool. They hugged like people who had practice. He spoke, and she touched his wrist the way she used to touch mine when something mattered. I watched them order. I watched her laugh, then put her hand on the table deliberately, palm up, as if asking for a secret. He leaned in. They shared something off a plate. It wasn't a crime scene. It was quiet, ordinary, and obvious. I didn't need to hear a word. A server walked by me outside with a tray. You going in? He asked, like I was lost. No, I answered. I got what I came for. What's that? Clarity. He shrugged and kept moving. I drove home the long way to clear the engine. At home, I sat at the table with a legal pad. I made a checklist. Find a mediator. Draft separation paperwork. Close the joint discretionary account. Move my savings to a new bank. Freeze any auto transfers that weren't essential. Set up a separate P.O. box. Change my emergency contact at work from Laura to Nate. Ask Jenna to witness a couple signatures as a notary. She'd mentioned she could. No lawyers, no drama. Just signatures and a plan. I wasn't out to win. I was out to be done. I called Nate. You home? Yeah. Can you swing by tomorrow at lunch? I need you to read something for Holes. Paperwork. Paperwork. He exhaled. I'll be there. I walked to the guest room and started a duffel. 2 weeks of clothes. Enough so I could leave fast if I wanted. I slept well. Action is a good pillow. The next day, Jenna notarized signatures with a tight face. You okay? I'm fine. That a lie. It's a decision. She nodded once. Then it's fine. I moved a chunk of money to the new account and left enough in the old one to cover bills through month's end. I put a little envelope in the safe with copies of everything and texted Nate the code. If I get hit by a bus, I wrote, tell them where the switch is. He answered with a thumb up and a dumb skull emoji. It made me smile. Laura noticed less than I expected. When she asked about brunch, I said, I'm booked. When she tried to put a charity dinner on the calendar, I wrote solo for you. She raised a brow. I went back to my coffee. A week later, she tried a different tone. She came by the shop with lunch. I brought you something. Thanks, I said, taking the bag. You didn't have to. I wanted to. She looked around like she was touring a museum. You've been working late. Big jobs. You could tell me when you'll be home. I could, I said. But we're not running joint schedules right now. She inhaled and exhaled like she'd practiced that with an app. I miss us. What part? She touched the hood of a car I was finishing. The easy part. It wasn't easy. You just didn't notice the work. That's not fair. It's honest. She tried to smile. We should go somewhere this weekend. I found a cabin, last-minute deal. Separate cars? I asked. She blinked. Why? I leave when I want. That's not how couples. We're not acting like a couple. We're acting like two adults sharing a house while we figure it out. That's so cold. It's clean. She stood up straighter. You know the Johnson's party is Saturday. I know. We need to go. I'll stop by, I told her. 1 hour. Separate rides. That's ridiculous. It's 1 hour, I said. You'll be fine. She shouldered her bag. You're pushing me away. You moved yourself, I replied. That night, I cooked. She came to the kitchen and leaned on the counter. I'm sorry about earlier, she said. I've been off. I noticed. I don't want to fight. I'm not fighting. We could try starting over. Tomorrow's still tomorrow, I answered. But the rules stay. She nodded too fast, like it was easier to agree now and rewrite later. Second soft turn. Over-the-top interest. A sudden plan. It would have been sweet 2 months earlier. Now it read like stage makeup in daylight. Saturday afternoon. She got ready like a candidate. Hair sprayed, perfume heavy, dress that said, look what you're missing, with an exclamation point. I put on a clean shirt and boots because I was leaving after an hour and going by the shop. At the Johnsons', there were strings of lights, trays of finger food, Johnny music. Mark slapped my shoulder. You made it. For a bit, I told him. Laura peeled off to hug Tasha and the other wives. The tribe that loves to diagnose husbands with a glass in hand. I said hi to Mark's dad, a gruff kind of man who respects quiet. How you doing, son? Steady, I said. Good enough, he replied. A guy named Corey started talking shop with me. Heard you tuned that old V8. Thing purrs. It runs, I said. Purring is for cats. He laughed. Fair. Across the patio, I saw Laura watching me. She flashed that public smile like a billboard. She came over and looped her arm through mine. Everyone's asking about us. Everyone needs a hobby. She looked past me to the little half circle of people around Mark's grill. Her mouth tightened. Come say hi to Tasha's friends, she said a little too brightly. No thanks, I answered. I'm good here. What is your problem? She hissed, still smiling. No problem, I said. Just not playing. She squeezed my arm hard. Don't make me look like an idiot. You did that part. Her lips thinned. She turned and went straight to the cluster by the grill. I saw the tilt of her head, the way the group leaned in. Tasha's eyes flicked to me. A couple people laughed the nervous laugh people use when they don't know if they're on camera. My hour was almost up. I was about to leave when I heard Laura, louder now, playful enough to pass, sharp enough to cut. He's even afraid to hug me, she said. Like I'm made of glass. The circle smiled. It wasn't deadly. It was small and cheap, like a parking ticket. But I'd paid enough. I walked over calm. Afraid. I said, no. Disgusted. It stunned the circle into silence. Mark's grill hissed. A saxophone on the speakers squeaked like it needed oil. Laura blinked. Excuse me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't rush. You want honesty in front of your audience? Here. I stopped touching you the week you started going on yoga nights with a new password and the smile you reserve for strangers. I watched you walk out careful like a cat burglar. I followed once. I saw you at that little bistro on Maple, Thursday at 7, red sweater, blue shirt opposite you. You touched his wrist the way you used to touch mine. You laughed. You stayed long. I went home and made decisions. I don't hug strangers. I don't share cups. I don't perform. Someone coughed into a plastic cup. Tasha stared at the ground. Mark set down his tongs. Laura swallowed. You're insane. I'm careful, I said. You're inconsistent. That's not what that was. She tried. Too fast. It doesn't matter, I replied. Because what matters is respect, and we're at 0. Mike, let's go talk. No, I cut in. You wanted to play in front of people. You got a response in front of people. Everyone here knows me. They know I don't make scenes. If I'm making one, it's because the show's over. Mark started to say something. I lifted a hand. Sorry for the sideshow, I told the group. Eat your food. Have a good night. I walked past Laura. She reached for my sleeve, missed, took a step back like the floor tilted. Then she ran inside, head down, a blur of hair and bad perfume. The patio froze, that kind of freeze where nobody wants to be the first to move. Nate wasn't there, but if he had been, he'd have nodded once. I put my cup in the trash, shook Mark's hand, and left. At home the lights were dark. I clicked on the lamp and waited. 10 minutes later the front door opened hard. She bolted down the hall, opened the closet, yanked the carry-on from the shelf. The zipper sang. She didn't look at me. She didn't have to. We both knew the script. I stood, walked to the safe, took out the manila envelope. Signed, dated, copies on copies. I came to the bedroom door. She looked up like a cornered animal and then back down at her shirts. I didn't say a word. I opened the suitcase and set the papers on top of folded clothes. Then I closed it halfway so she had to touch them to keep going. I went back to the living room, sat on the couch, and turned on the TV. I didn't care what was on. The point was the noise. She packed in a rush, then in little neat movements, then in a rush again. She walked out with 2 bags and a purse. She paused at the door, hand on the frame, back toward me. No speech, no cry. The door swung open wider. She didn't close it. That's how 10 years ended. Not with a big final act, just a quiet exit and a hallway light falling into our living room. Better that way. I let the TV run out of habit. Then I stood, took the suitcase papers back to the safe, and slept in the guest room because the bed in the other room belonged to some history that was gone. We didn't speak the next day. She didn't come home. I got a text Monday from a number I didn't have saved. I'll sign whatever you want. I answered, mediation packet is on the counter. Sign and leave your copy. She replied with a single okay. There was no fight, no bargaining, no list. She came while I was at work, because I found her neat initials by the sticky notes and the empty spot where her jewelry box had sat. She left the keys in a bowl like a rental. The only thing she wrote beyond her name was a date. 2 weeks later, the mediator mailed the final page with stamps and packet numbers. Simple, fast, quiet. I changed the locks and the alarm code. I set autopay to the new account and closed the old one. I told Tasha I wouldn't make the next family thing. She said, I get it, in a small voice. She didn't defend her sister. She didn't attack me. People know what they know. At work, Jenna handed me a stack of parts orders and a coffee. You look lighter. Because I am, I said. Nate swung by with a bag of burritos on a Saturday at noon like we were 20. You free tonight? I'm working late. Sunday morning then. We got tickets to the minor league game. It'll be stupid and loud. Sounds perfect. I kept my Saturdays for friends. Tuesday nights I did the gym and late laundry and enjoyed a house that echoed in a good way. I didn't race to fill the silence with a new voice. I fixed the porch light. I took a drive up the ridge on a Wednesday just because. I cleaned out drawers that had been junk drawers for years and found old photos of us smiling for real. I put them in a box. Not to burn, not to cry over, just to put where they belong, away. I heard from a friend that Laura stayed a few weeks with Tasha, then moved into a small place closer to the office, said she needed a reset. That's the word people use when they mean start over and hope nobody checks the math. I didn't look her up. I didn't ask for news. The only update I got was a text from a number that looked new. I'll swing by Saturday for the last of my stuff. I wrote back, it's in the garage, boxed and labeled. She came while I was out. The box was gone when I got back. She left a single houseplant on the steps like a parting gift from a work raffle. I put it in the kitchen and forgot to water it for 3 days, then remembered, then watched it perk up and decided that was a decent metaphor for me, even though I hate metaphors. Mark called once. You good? I'm good. You need anything? I've got what I need. Come by sometime, he said. The grill misses your silence. Soon. The one person I didn't hear from was Laura. Not a call. Not a message. The last words between us were on a patio with a grill hissing in the background. She'd said, "He's even afraid to hug me," trying to get a laugh. I gave the last sentence the situation deserved. That was enough. People expect an explosion, a showdown in court, speeches. They expect men like me to either beg or destroy. I did neither. I made a decision, then I walked it. I didn't publish anything on the internet, didn't drink my way through it, didn't audition for sympathy. I did the grown-up thing nobody claps for. I ended something that had ended itself. Some nights I work late, stay under the hood until the problem matches the fix, lock up when the street is empty, and drive home through a quiet town under regular lights. Saturdays I meet the guys. We eat eggs at the same diner, complain about nothing, laugh about the old days when we had knee cartilage, and lie about our golf swings. It's good. It's simple. It's mine. I'm not hunting for a new life partner. I'm not making a manifesto about living alone. I'm just living. I've got a small house that stays clean, a truck that starts, a shop that pays, and friends who show up. That's a decent baseline after a decade that ended with a hallway light and an open door. Sometimes, when I lock up at night, I think about a version of me that tried longer than he should have to get warm from a person who kept stepping away. I don't hate that guy. He was doing what he thought was right. But I respect the one who finally took his hand back. If love ever shows up again without the games and the stage, I'll open the door. Until then, I've got work to do, a life to run, and my Saturdays booked.